This is the Neon Tarantino, the director, Derek Dillinger.
And Katie Arquette, the leading lady of the production.
And we're live. No second takes, no reshoots.
And you're watching the Main Event Wrestling Network.
Cut.
Hello. Good morning. Welcome in to another episode of Kayfabe Coffee. I am JPJ. It is Thursday. It is the morning J with myself. And boy, oh boy, do we have an episode of Dynamite to talk about. They were in Arena, Mexico last night for Grand Slam Mexico, and it was an incredible show. An incredible show that we are going to dive into here very, very shortly. But before you do, you are watching on the Main Event Wrestling Network, and you should go on Twitter. You should go on Instagram. You should give us a follow. Main Event _net on Twitter, on Instagram. We crushed our goal of getting on the road to 400. We surpassed 400. So now we are on the road to 500. So tell your friends, give us a follow, go on YouTube, hit that sub button, click the bell for notifications so you get all the updates when we are going live and all that fun stuff. If you click this QR code that you see in the corner there, that'll kind of bring you to a bunch of other stuff and everywhere you need to go for us here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. So go do that stuff. Do the right thing. Be there. Do it. All right. Last night, Grand Slam Mexico. Tremendous. It's a tremendous episode, loaded. Really was like a pay-per-view. It went till 11 o'clock. It was, it was billed till 10:30. It was billed as a 2.5-hour show. I think the main event ended at 10:52 Eastern time. So it was basically a 3-hour show. It felt like a pay-per-view. The crowd was incredible. That arena looked awesome. They should absolutely do a pay-per-view there in future. And they loaded up this show, man. You saw the graphic for the last handful of days, and it was like, damn, dude, this is a loaded show, and it did not disappoint. It had a pay-per-view vibe. It had a pay-per-view feel, and the quality of the show was pay-per-view. It truly was. And we did not waste any time. As we opened up this show with a giant 8-man tag. Adam Copeland's music is the first thing you hear. The crowd is going bananas. And they sang that song, man. They sang that song. And you could tell that Copeland was really, really soaking it in. It was just a tremendous moment. And then Christian comes out and they team up with the Young Bucks to take on the Death Riders, who are Jon Moxley, Pac, Daniel Garcia, and Wheeler Yuta. Starts off just pure chaos. Death Riders are on the floor. The Bucks dive on them, and we kind of immediately go to a quick break. And when they come back, the Death Riders are really in charge. And they're working over Nick. They're doing quick tags. They're doing all this stuff. And then the good guys start mounting a little bit of a comeback. The Young Bucks get a good little session there. Some good teamwork with Adam Copeland and the Young Bucks. Christian hits a diving headbutt. This is just a side note. We're not going to dive into it. But, Christian is doing a headbutt, a flying headbutt off the top rope. And the other company, Chad Gable. Why are we doing flying headbutts in 2026? What's the deal? That's not a move we can just say, hey, we don't do that anymore? I don't know. I think you can look up the history of a flying headbutt and see how that works. It's not good. It's not good. Why are we doing those in 2026? Anyway, Matt Jackson hits a big elbow. They're going back and forth. They do a super kick party. But the Death Riders break it up. Copeland hits an impaler on Mox, and then Marina Shafir interferes to prevent the pinfall. And Christian Cage she's on the apron. Christian Cage pulls her off the apron, and Christian Cage, I don't think you know what that term is, brother. If that's the term you're using for what happened last night, then you don't know that term, bro. So that's what I'll say about that. Losing a competitive match where you get interfered with to lose is not being a jobber. So get a dictionary or pretend to understand professional wrestling, and then we can talk, okay? And then Christian ends up kicking Marina Shafir in the nether regions. He goes in, tries to hit a kill switch. It gets broken up. They're going back and forth. Wheeler Yuta hits a nice drop kick on Christian. The Bucks are in. They're doing their dance. They take out Daniel Garcia. Pac comes in. He hits a nice little rebound German suplex on one of the Young Bucks. Edge hits an Edge-o-matic on Pac to take him out. They get a victory roll on Moxley, gets out of it. He ducks a lariat, and then Copeland hits a spear. But Bryce Remsburg, the ref, is being distracted by Wheeler Yuta, so he doesn't make the count. Matt Jackson goes over there, hits Wheeler Yuta. Pac then Pac then kind of whips Copeland out of the way. Moxley gets a schoolboy. So he whips Copeland. Copeland hits Matt Jackson on the apron and kind of gets distracted for a split second. And then Moxley rolls him up, clearly has the tights, but rolls him up, has the tights. 1, 2, 3. Death Riders win. Eric, what's going on, my man? Welcome in, brother. Hope you are well. So the Death Riders get a big win off the super team of Edge and I'll call them Edge, Copeland and Christian and the Young Bucks, with a little bit of a afterwards, Copeland and Christian are looking at the Bucks, nothing physical, nothing even bad, but they're, kind of, you can see we're heading there for sure. We then get a really nice video package promoting Omega and Ospreay, which was really, really good. And then we come back and we are right at it again. It's a 3-way match with the winner getting the number 1 entry into the Casino Gauntlet match that will be at All In. It was Tommaso Ciampa, who came out wearing an American flag because they're in Mexico, so he's draped in an American flag. Commander, I can't say enough good things about Commander. And the real Latino man, Andrade El Idolo. This match was awesome, as you would expect. They kind of get Commander out of there very quickly, and they give Ciampa and Andrade kind of some one-on-one time. But then Commander just does, he comes back in. They go to the outside after they're fighting for a little bit, and then Commander comes back into the match with the run rope into the dive. It's just one of the more spectacular moves in the history of professional wrestling, is that Commander rope walk into the dive. I mean, I've been watching wrestling a long time. That is one of the most impressive. I'm never going to get sick of watching that move. Every time he does it, even though I know he's going to do it, I know he's going to land it, I know it's going to be great. But every time he does it, I'm like, that is just spectacular. That is truly one of the great moves of all time. Then there's some back and forth with Andrade and Commander for a little bit. Andrade then takes Ciampa out. He rolls to the floor. And then we get the pants. And I was yelling. I was like, take off the pants. You need to take off your pants. The crowd wants it. I want it. And he starts taking off the belt. And let me tell you, it sounded like we were back in the 80s. Even though I'm a 90s kid, it sounded like we were back in the 80s. Because he started taking off his pants. And you heard the screams from the women in the audience. Literal screams. And I'm like, what is this, 1991? It's like, sounds like the 80s over there. People don't act like that anymore. We're a cordial people now. We have to be. It felt very old school when he was taking off those pants. That crowd was at a fever pitch. Terrible movie. Terrible movie. One of the worst, actually. So he takes the pants off. He's going after Commander. He hits the Three Amigos. Crowd is going fucking nuts when he hits the Three Amigos. Ciampa comes back in, cleans house a bit, and then he starts beating up Andrade's pants, and the crowd did not like that. He hits a Project Ciampa on the pants. But Commander breaks up the pin on the pants with a 450 splash. So that was cool. Andrade gets back in. They start going back and forth. Ciampa hits an avalanche air raid crash on Commander, kicks out. Ciampa then starts arguing with the ref, which kind of causes a distraction. And then Andrade hits the corner knees, but Commander breaks that pin up. Commander then does a backhand spring, but Ciampa catches him, and then Andrade hits that spinning back elbow. Then there's a wonderful poison Frankensteiner from Commander. He does the rope walk, shooting star press, and Andrade slides in, hits the D. So Commander basically takes Ciampa out. Andrade slides in very smoothly, hits the DM on Commander. 1, 2, 3. Andrade is the number one entry in the Casino Gauntlet match at All In. After the match, Andrade grabs the mic. He cuts a promo. He speaks a lot in Spanish, so I couldn't, I took Spanish in high school. I did well. I don't know everything he said, but he basically said, from what I understood, this could be wrong, but from what I took of it and what I understood, he said that he's proud of the AEW National Championship, but he wants more. He's going to win the Casino Gauntlet, and then he's going to win the AEW World Championship. He said, not just for me, but for everyone here, for the Latinos, and for Mexico. And he said, so if you think he can't win the Gauntlet match, and if you think he can't be AEW World Champion, he's got one question for you. Okay.
I have one question for you. How you know?
Need that a half second earlier, Kyle. Kyle, I need that You almost had it. You almost had it, Kyle. That was almost. You know what I'm saying? But then MJF's music hits. And I wasn't expecting MJF. I know, I'm kidding. It was still pretty quick. MJF's music hits. And I was not expecting MJF on this show. But he comes from behind as Andrade is looking at the ramp. He takes Andrade out with the triple B. He's got the triple B in hand. Takes him out with the belt shot. He takes the Dynamite diamond ring off of Andrade. He clobbers Andrade with it. He takes Andrade to the ramp. He spikes him and sends him crashing to the floor. Andrade's bleeding. MJF, I do too, Shep. MJF is wearing a white tank top. It's covered in blood on his front, on his back. Very good. Wore white for a reason. He grabs a mic. He tells security to get Andrade out of there. And he claims that he's still the champion. He says, you don't believe me? Let's talk about it. He says, I had Kenny Omega dead to rights at Beach Break until Will Ospreay got involved. Factually correct. I will say he still lost. He's not the world champion, but I will say factually correct. And MJF says because of Ospreay, Omega got to waltz around with a toy belt and head into the main event at Wembley that should be his. He goes, but I don't care because I always get what I want. Also factually correct. Always gets what he wants. He goes, next week we're in Vegas. I'm feeling lucky. There's a match for the Casino Gauntlet number 2 spot, and he's going to enter it and win the match. He goes, and then at Wembley, he's going to dog walk that Pero Andrade again. That's quotes. Don't take that on me. That's quote from Max. He says, I'm going to win the contract again and do exactly what he did the last time. And he goes, and now listen in. He goes, listen up. First of all, the crowd's calling him like a punta. Oh, it's fucking wonderful. He goes, now listen up because this part's real important. He says, the only championship that should be recognized is the Triple B. He goes, and the only champ that should be recognized is me. And he goes, and after August 30th, that fake main event at All In, I don't give a damn who wins. I'm going to remind the world that whether you like it or not, I'm the one true champion. Segment ends. So MJF is back. He's going to be in the Casino Gauntlet. Wouldn't be shocked if he wins it. But I expect him to win the number 2 spot next week on Dynamite in Vegas. So we'll get him and Andrade kind of starting off the Casino Gauntlet at All In. I would expect that Max will be involved at the end, whether it is a loss or a win. I would expect him to be involved in the decision. But Max is back. He has the Triple B. He's claiming he's the real world's champion. And yeah. All right. I like Max, obviously. I think he's having a career year this year. I mean, yeah, all right. It's fine. We then got another really good video package. This one was for Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale. And then we come back and we have ourselves a 6-person tag, a 6-women's tag. It is Willow Nightingale teaming up with the Brawling Birds, taking on Mercedes Moné and the AEW Women's Tag Team Champions, Divine Dominion. This was another good match. This show fucking ruled last night, guys. This match was really, really good. I know Eric said it earlier. I'm enjoying the Brawling Birds as well. I think they're fantastic. All 6 of these women in this match just kick ass, dude. They just kick some serious ass. It started off Windsor and Bane. They start using their power a little bit. They're going back and forth. Drops her with the shoulder block. She catches her in a bear hug. She's shoulder blocking her in the corner. So she's really using her power, Megan Bane. She had a good title run. She's taking a few weeks off. I would expect that we see her after. I mean, I don't know if they're going to try to get her on TV the next couple weeks to try to get her in something for All In. I think we see her come back after All In. I think she's going to take some time off, rest up. She was carrying that division for, a good 5 months or so. They needed someone, and Tony said it at the press conference after Redemption. Like, we had people out. Tony Storm, Mercedes, Statlander got banged up. Willow got banged up. Certain people got banged up, and they needed someone to kind of step up, and Tekla stepped up and carried that whole division. So, she deserves some time off. She should be in the match at All In, but she deserves some time off. So, Boris, what's going on, my man? How are you, brother? So, yeah, they're going back and forth. Jamie Hayter comes in, gets some good offense there, kind of gets back on Divine Dominion. She starts going after Mercedes, knocks her to the floor. She hits a diving crossbody on all 3 of them, and then we go to a break. We come back, and Nightingale pounces Mercedes right away. So both of those, they're both taken out. Cross and Hayter get in there. Windsor joins the fray. Lena gets in there. So we got some kind of chaos going on. The 2 tag teams are really trading blows. They're trading strikes. Divine Dominion hits double German suplexes, which was a nice spot. Then the Birds wipe them out with strikes in return after that. And then Willow and Mercedes are back in the ring. Willow hits a beautiful spine buster, kick out. Monet off the top rope with the Meteora gets but then she gets a backslide from Windsor. Mercedes hits a headbutt to slip through. Cross hits the TKO. Bane hits a Falcon Arrow. Willow hits a Death Valley Driver. They're all going back and forth. It's really good stuff. And then the Brawling Birds and Willow. Willow ends up pinning Mercedes. And Mercedes is shocked. It's kind of in the chaos of all this. It was a roll-up of sorts, but not it wasn't after a big move. It was just kind of like a pin. Mercedes is shocked. Everyone's celebrating. And the good guys win this one. And then we see on the screen, it's official. We get the graphic at All In for the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships. We are going to get Divine Dominion defending against the Brawling Birds. That should be a fun one. I would expect the Birds to potentially win that one in the England in the home territory. But that good 6-woman match. That tag match is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, man, it was good stuff. And again, there was so much on this show. There was no filler. We didn't have a ton of backstage. We didn't have a ton of promos. This was just match. It was a pay-per-view. It felt like a pay-per-view. We then have our AEW International Championship match. Speedball cashing in the contract from his ladder match win at Redemption. It was him. It was Kyle Fletcher. What can you say, guys? What can you say? Another just tremendous match from these two together. There was a spot earlier on in this match where they go to the floor and Speedball does a dive through the ropes and Fletcher catches Speedball. And Fletcher does the lawn dart. He makes it look good. He did a lawn dart into the barricade. And the way that Speedball took this thing, I thought he was dead. I thought he could have been dead. That's how gnarly that looked. I was like, is he alive? Is he alive? Just awesome move. They get back in the ring. Kyle then a little bit later hits an avalanche Michinoku driver, which was, what the fuck? And then Speedball kicks out. We go to a break. We come back. Speedball's in control. He actually hits a dive on Fletcher, which wipes him out to the floor. He tries the La Casadora to the victory roll. It gets reversed. They're going back and forth. Springboard, head scissors, victory roll again. Fletcher sets him up for a brain buster, but Bailey counters. And they go out to the ramp area. They go to the stairs area. Now, these are real stairs. These are not like the steel. These are real stairs at Arena Mexico. And Kyle he's attempting to hit a brain buster on the steps to Speedball. But Speedball reverses it, hits a Frankensteiner, and then he hits a backflip off the steps onto Kyle, which it looked kind of scary because it looked like Speedball almost hit the bottom couple steps because he was kind of up there when he jumped, and I was like, oh, it looked like it hurt. But he was okay. He was okay. They get back into the ring. Speedball goes for the double knees, but nobody's home. We get a jumping Michinoku driver, so we get a jumping one from Kyle. Bailey kicks out again, dude. Won't stay down. They go back to the floor, and they have a great little sequence, and Fletcher power bombs Speedball onto the apron, which looked great. He hits that running boot that he does. He hits a brain buster, and Speedball still kicks out. So he hits the standard brain buster, kicks out. They're going back and forth. Bailey lays Fletcher out. He hits the Ultima Weapon, and I'm like, holy shit, is Speedball going to win? And Kyle, it looked like 3 to me. It felt like 3 to me, but Kyle kicks out at 2.9999999. Then they go back and forth a little bit. Kyle then hits the lawn dart into the middle turnbuckle. He hits that running boot, and then he sets Speedball up in the corner. He hits the brain buster onto the corner for the 1, 2, 3. Kyle Fletcher wins, retains the International Championship. Obviously would have loved Speedball to win. I think I get it, Speedball's been losing. I think the moment for Speedball has to be the guy that takes the TNT title off of Kevin Knight. He has to be, right? He absolutely has to be the guy that does that. Would not hate it if it was that all in. But yeah, I feel like that's the big moment for Speedball where he's going to get his first little singles title is when he's got to be Kevin Knight. He's got to be Kevin Knight. So Kyle Fletcher is in the ring celebrating in the corner. And who interrupts his celebration? You hear that coin drop, baby. It's Kazuchika Okada. He's making his entrance because he is in a match right after this. And him and Fletcher have a little bit of a stare down. And then Kyle leaves. So they're clearly teasing that. That's going to be at All In. That's going to be a stupidly good match. Are you kidding me? Kyle Fletcher and Okada, dude. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. We then have our 6-man tag. Okada is joined by Hechicero and Kevin Knight, the Don Callis family, and they are taking on Corazon de Leon, Jericho, with the throwback gear, the throwback entrance, the throwback everything to the time that he wrestled in Mexico in the 90s. I thought that was kind of cool. And he was teaming up with Mystico, who just that entrance is spectacular. I could watch that entrance all the time. So good. And Darby Allin. And Darby Allin starts, we don't mess around. Darby Allin skateboards to the ring, and then he just immediately drops Kevin Knight with the lariat, and the brawl is off. And we are going. We are going. Kevin Knight and Darby are fighting on the ramp. He crotches him into the barricade. Okada and Jericho are going at it. Kevin Knight, like I said, and Darby, Hechicero and Mystico are going at it. It's just pure chaos. You love to see it. And then it kind of gets back to regular here, and Okada starts working Jericho. Jericho then gets fired up. He's hitting chops. And then Kevin Knight comes in. They're really taking out Jericho a little bit. They're going back and forth with him. Jericho catches Kevin Knight, and he hits an attitude adjustment. That was something that happened in this match, as Jericho hit an attitude adjustment, which was a lot of fun. Darby Allin then comes in. Hechicero comes in. They're going back and forth. They knock Kevin to the apron off the ropes. Okada hits Darby Allin with that beautiful dropkick of his. We come back from a break. Mystico gets tagged in. He hits a huge crossbody that takes Kevin Knight out. Hechicero then comes in. He goes. Okada is working on Mystico. They do a nice little triple team, but Mystico outsmarts him and hits the Tiger Feint kick on Okada. Frankensteiner on Hechicero. A knuckle lock Knight. A huge lucha arm drag. So it's just really good back and forth stuff. And then we kind of fast forward to the end. They do this spot where the baby faces are in the ring. Jericho hits a diving crossbody. Darby Allin then hits a coffin drop, and then Mystico hits a huge planta on the 3 opponents. Kevin Knight gets in the ring. He starts going at Darby. He puts him in a tree of woe, and then it looks like he's going to go for coast to coast, but Jericho cuts him off halfway with a Judas effect, which was a cool little spot. Goes for a code breaker, but it's countered, and then Okada walks right into the walls of Jericho. And then Mystico gets La Mystica to keep Hechicero down, and then off the top rope, Darby hits a coffin drop on Kevin Knight. He covers Kevin Knight, who's the legal man. 1, 2, 3. So Jericho, Darby, and Mystico get the pinfall by defeating the Don Callis family. Fun 6-man tag. That was good stuff. Very much enjoyed it. We then got a recap of about a month ago with the TVS championship. They showed the survival of the fittest match, and they were talking about Statlander and Persephone and everything that went down there, because the next match that we got was one-on-one Chris Statlander versus Persephone. Thunder Rosa was in the crowd. They showed her at the beginning. And again, this was just another good match. Persephone is very impressive. And I thought she needed this win tonight because she is the CMLL Women's Heavyweight Champion. And every time she's on AEW, she loses for the most part. So I thought a big win, especially in Mexico, was needed for Persephone. And this was a good match, man. These are 2 physical, big girls that were beating the crap out of each other. And I loved it. Big chops. Early on, Statlander hit a beautiful moonsault off the apron, which was really, really nice. Persephone throughout the match was jaw-jacking with Thunder Rosa a little bit. As she was kind of beating up Statlander. So there was, early on she starts she's barking at her, she's giving clubbing blows to Statlander. Persephone has a fireman's carry. She hits the Finley roll. Statlander then hits a good gut buster. She hits a Michinoku driver. Persephone kicks out. They're going back and forth. Big shoulder blocks, super kicks. Statlander with the big cross body later on in the match, but Persephone kicks out. They go out to the floor, and then they start getting into it with Thunder Rosa again. And Persephone grabs her, smashes her with grabs her and pulls her over. And then Persephone grabs Thunder Rosa's belt and hits Thunder Rosa with her own belt. So Thunder Rosa's laid out. Then Statlander dives on Persephone, but she takes out the ref at the same time. So there's no ref. Just they're laid out. Thunder Rosa's laid out. They get back in the ring. They're trading pins, but there's no ref. And then Hikaru Shida shows up. She slides in. She crushes Statlander with Persephone's CMLL title. Persephone hits a nice, beautiful frog splash. The referee crawls in for the slow injured 3 count. And Persephone gets a big, big victory over Chris Statlander. I thought she needed it. I thought it was the right choice. Good match. They set up some things with, obviously, Shida and Statlander is not over, which is fine. And then they kind of set, and I don't know if this will be for an AEW thing or a thing in Mexico, but they set up Persephone and Thunder Rosa, obviously, as well. So you get a couple things that come out of it. Good competitive match. Big win for Persephone. After the match, Maya World and High-End rushed down to check on Statlander. So, Statlander has some friends there, so we'll see where that goes. Get another recap between Will Ospreay and Dunkzilla Mark Davis. That will be the main event of the show, and we will get there because boy, oh fucking boy. But before we got there, we had an AEW World Trios Championship match. It was the Demand defending against Brodito and Hangman Adam Page. And don't you know it? We have ourselves some new AEW World Trios champions as Hangman Adam Page and Brodito do get the victory here. Listen, with these type of matches, I can't tell you everything that happened because there's so much shit that goes on in these matches. But again, there were 3 6-person matches on this show tonight and an 8-man tag. And all of them were terrific because AEW knows how to book these type of matches. They're chaotic. Everybody looks great. They're paced really well. They just know how to book the multi-person tag match. And we had a lot of them on this show. And they all hit. At one point in this one, Toa Leona at one point did a fireman's carry with all 3 members of the other team on his back. He had Brody King, then it was Hangman, then it was Bandito. And that was Brody King alone. Doing a fireman's carry to Brody King alone would be impressive because Brody King is a huge individual. But he did it to all 3 guys. That was incredible. And he hits a Samoan drop. Just an incredible spot. The Demand at one point earlier in the match hit triple dives on the good guys, which was a lot of fun. Ricochet hit a beautiful shooting star press that Hangman kicked out of. Brody hits the cannonball senton. Ricochet is doing Ricochet things. Bandito was awesome in this match. Just everybody looked great. But really the standout moment of the match besides the end of the match was Toa Leona. Like that, getting all 3 of those guys up there, that is so impressive. That is so impressive. He tried to cover Bandito after that. Bandito kicked out. And then he starts arguing with Remsburg. Bandito then goes after Ricochet and Bishop Khan. He knocks him to the floor. Leona then goes face first to the post. Brody cuts him down with the big lariat. He dives on the other two outside. Bandito goes for a 21 plex on Leona, but he's too big, so he can't do it. However, Hangman then hits Leona's hanging onto the ropes. Hangman hits him with the boot, which gets Leona off the ropes into the middle of the ring. And Bandito's deadlifting toward Leona at this point, but he still can't get him over. So Hangman hits a buckshot lariat on Leona, and the momentum from the buckshot gets him over. So Bandito completes the 21 plex for the 1, 2, 3. And like I said, brand new AEW Trios champions, Brodito, Hangman Adam Page. It's a fun team. We saw Hangman get a very quick run with Jet Speed before he lost the title match and went away for a bit. He came back. He said, I'm a man of my word. I'm not going to fight for the world title, but there's a ton of other titles that I can fight for. And guess what, guys? He won the Trios title pretty quickly. He won the Trios title. So the Trios titles do change hands quite often, I find. No, I just think he's going to win I think he's going to be a Grand Slam champion. I think he's going to win every single belt. Eventually, he's going to get back to the world title. They're going to find a way to do it. But I think Hangman right now for the foreseeable future, I think Hangman is going to win every other belt. I think he's going to be the first true Grand Slam champion. I don't think this will. The Trios titles change hands a lot, it feels like. So I don't think this will necessarily. I think they're going to be the champions going into All In and All Out. My guess would be, but I don't. I'm going to be honest with you. Once Gabe Kidd gets the fuck back over here, those belts should be on the Dogs. Those belts should be on the Dogs. That's how I feel. They've kind of, even though the Dogs have lost the tag title match, yeah, it could be feuding between them though. You know what I mean? So. I think once Gabe Kidd is done in the G1 and he comes back over to AEW, if he does, I think that is where I could see that going. And then they did the Macarena. So that was nice. They did the Macarena. We're going to get through this show quick, guys, because besides the MGF thing, there was no real promos or anything. It was just matches. So this is going to be a slightly shorter version of the Morning J here. So there was that. That was like the big title change, the big moment of the evening was that new title change. So that was very cool. And then we had this world title match. This main event, not world title match. And holy fuck. Mexico City street fight. Will Ospreay. Dunkzilla. Mark Davis. Now, okay. I just simply put on Twitter, I just said, Mark Davis, guys. We know what we're getting out of Will Ospreay, right? He's arguably been the best wrestler in the world for the last 3 to 5 years. Okay? We know what to expect from Will Ospreay every time Will Ospreay's in that ring. Mark Davis. And I've been saying it for months on every show, every content thing that I have, whenever I get to talk about Mark Davis is incredible. He is so damn good. It's, and they're letting him talk now. This guy is main event caliber. Main event caliber. And this main event of this show, All In is less than 30 days away, and you got Will Ospreay out there having this kind of match. The balls on Tony, on Will, on this company. Like, oh yeah, you're the guy that's gonna, be crowned our golden boy here in 23 days, whatever there it is, 26 days. Yeah. Go get stabbed in the head with a fork. Go take some ridiculous bumps. Why not? And bless them for it, because this main event was awesome. Just tremendous stuff. They meet on the ramp. They're brawling on the ramp. They're not even waiting around. Davis using his power, clobbers them with the lariat. Huge senton. Dunkzilla just off to the races, dude. Will comes back. He hits a slingshot plancha, which was really, really good. He smashes Mark's face into a chair that was set up on the barricade. And then he brings out a tire. I was like, all right. But he doesn't use the tire. Dunkzilla actually slams Ospreay into the tire, which was cool looking. Another springboard senton into that takes Dunkzilla into the barricade. We get another chair back in the ring. There's a springboard lariat. They're getting back on their feet. Dunkzilla takes control. He hits an apron power bomb on Will, which was a nice little spot. He throws a huge garbage can at Will, and he power bombs him over the barricade into a fan, which was a cool spot. He gets, he's pulling out all the pulling out all the stuff from the garbage can. It looked like he had like a baking sheet or a board of some sort. He hits Ospreay over the head with the board. It breaks. Ospreay falls down the stairs because they're on top of the apron, on top of the ramp at this point. Mark grabs a couple chairs. He goes inside. Ospreay floats over a gut wrench. He hits a crescent kick. And then Davis reverses it and throws Will into a chair that was wedged between the turnbuckles. That was a good spot. Head first there. He opens up a pair of chairs, and this is where it gets gnarly, dude. He sits Will down on the chair. He grabs a fork, and he stabs Ospreay in the head. Now, Ospreay already has kind of a wound, so he stabs him in the wound with the fork, and he's spiking him with the fork. Disgusting. Will then drop toe holds him through the chair. He hits an os cutter, and then Will grabs the fork, and he starts stabbing Mark Davis in the head over and over again with the fork. And then he puts the fork in his mouth to taste the blood of Dunkzilla. You sick fuck. You know? Disgusting. He goes in for the hidden blade. Mark cuts him off, hits a ridiculously violent-looking lariat. Puts Ospreay through the chairs. They're both covered in blood, man. As JR would say, crimson masks these two gentlemen were wearing. Davis then gets a coil of barbed wire, and he's grinding it into Will's face in the corner. And then Will puts it around a chair, and he hits... Well, no, he throws the chair at Davis, hits him in the face. They're going back and forth. Dunkzilla grabs the barbed wire. He grinds it into Ospreay's back this time. Ospreay then grabs him in the penis and twists his dick. It looked like the good old dick twist. That's what Will did there. And then Will Ospreay hits a friggin' pile driver on the apron to Mark Davis, which was gnarly looking. Referee starts counting. Basically had to help Mark Davis up because the referee is outside counting Davis on the outside, and he's at 9, and Davis is like still on the ground. And I don't know if Davis was like, he was doing the thing where he was going to wait till the last second, but he was cutting it close to the point where like the ref had to bend over and be like, get the fuck up. So then Davis gets up. He gets back in the ring. Will goes for a cover. It's a 2 count. And then Davis hits the gut wrench powerbomb, the close your eyes and count. He hits to Ospreay, but Ospreay kicks out. Then Davis coils the barbed wire around his arm. He goes off the ropes. He's trying to do a lariat, but Ospreay floats over and he hits a Styles Clash on Mark Davis, but Mark Davis kicks out. The crowd is going bananas. Both these guys are going at it. They have some falling elbows in the middle of the ring. Will grabs the barbed wire and he puts it around Davis's head like a crown of thorns type feel. And then he hits a hidden blade, covers 1, 2, 3. Will Ospreay wins, and this was an outstanding match. Violent, bloody, it had everything you needed. Mark Davis just continues to just be a single star, in my opinion. He is so good. Will Ospreay gets a huge win against a big-time rival, an old running buddy. Gets a huge win heading into All In. He stands tall. Arena Mexico is giving him his flowers, going bananas for Will Ospreay as Mark Davis gets helped out with some medical attention. And then, we go off the air with Excalibur hyping up Collision. And that was the show. So again, a long show. Did not go off the air until after 10:50, an almost 3-hour show, but it wasn't a lot of filler. If you saw the graphic, there was a ton of matches, and that's what it was. It was the only really talking segment of this show was the MJF promo. Everything else was just match, 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 match. It was wonderful. I said it a bunch of times. It felt like a pay-per-view. The crowd made it feel like a pay-per-view. The arena made it feel like a pay-per-view. It just really felt like a big-time show, and they gave us a big-time show. This was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun last night. I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. So next week they're in Vegas. And then I think we have 2 more. So we have 3 more weeks. Yesterday was the 5th. Yeah. So we have 3 more Dynamites to get to All In as we are continuing to build the card. We did have another match added in the Women's Tag Team Championship match. I would expect we're going to get a trios match with Brodito and Hangman now being the champs. That will be on All In. I would expect another women's match. I think we might get Statlander and Sheeta in some sort of, I know they've already kind of had a street fight, but I would expect maybe. I would assume Maya World is going to defend her title. So over the next 3 weeks, we're going to be getting a lot more matches being built up and added to this show. But that was a fun-ass show last night, man. That was a fun-ass show last night. Main event was excellent and violent, but all the matches were good to great. Push some storylines heading into All In as we continue the build. It was just an A+ show, man. An A+ show. It was a free pay-per-view on a Wednesday night. That's what we got last night. It was a free pay-per-view on a Wednesday night. And it was enjoyable. So you guys know the drill. Follow us here at the Main Event Network, Twitter, Instagram, mainevent_.net. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that sub button. We crushed our goal getting to the road to 400. Now we're on the road to 500. Give us a follow, y'all. Give us a sub. It'll be well worth your time. Most of the boys were at SummerSlam last weekend, making some content, hanging out, having a great time. Some of us were still fucking working. But we got a lot of cool shit coming out, man. We do stuff the night shift on Tuesdays after NXT. My boy Pluggo popped on there this week. We got the Wake and Bake on Tuesdays. Kayfabe Coffee, the Wake and Bake. Recapping Raw. I give you Kayfabe Coffee, the Morning J on Thursdays, talking some AEW. We got main event mixers when there are big shows and main events. The On the Mark, in pay-per-views I meant. We got the On the Mark podcast Thursdays. Got a lot of big shit here, guys. Got a lot of big shit with some cool-ass people. So it'll be well worth your time to give us a follow. I will be back. Well, actually, program note. We have 3 weeks until AEW All In. I'm not going to be back until the go-home show. The next 2 weeks, unfortunately, I have some big work things happening, and my Thursdays will be busy, unfortunately. So there will be no Kayfabe Coffee Morning J edition for at least next week. 2 weeks, let's not get that far. We'll get there when we get there, but there will be no Morning J next Thursday, as I definitely will have to pretend I'm happy at work for the day. But I will definitely, and then the next week we'll play it by ear, but I will definitely be here previewing All In and talking about the Go Home show to All In a few weeks' time. But pay attention to the main event socials. Pay attention to my socials right here. JPJ loves gaming. But no Kayfabe Coffee next week. But hopefully that should be the only one. But next week, potentially 2 weeks. But I will be here for the Go Home show leading into All In for that full preview. And then we'll be back doing the damn thing. So, Kyle, more the merrier, bro. More the merrier, bro. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Appreciate you all. Hope you enjoyed AEW Dynamite last night. Give me a follow, JPJ Loves Gaming, on all social media platforms. Like I said, Thursday mornings, 9 a.m. here for Kayfabe Coffee on the Main Event Wrestling Network. You can also catch me over on Love Wrestling with my boy Pluggo, who's also a member of the Main Event Wrestling Network. We do a little show called Between Two Beards Thursday nights at 8 p.m. That's where you can follow us there. And then on Sundays, noon Eastern, over on Fightful Overbooked, me and my friend Auntie Collins do a show called Coast to Coast. So that's where you can find me doing some other things outside of the Main Event Wrestling Network. But like I said, give us all a follow. Follow everybody that's on the network. We all do good shit. We all know our shit. We try to be as fair and objective as we can be, even if we don't like some stuff. We're not shitty about it. We're the real deal. We're the best in the biz. I'm the best in the biz. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. Appreciate you all hanging out. Have a good rest of your Thursday. For our gamers, it's Madden Day. It's Madden Day. So for my gamers out there, happy Madden Day. I will be partaking in about 4 hours at 2 o'clock once the second it's live for me to play. But for my video game people, happy Madden Day. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Appreciate you all. Follow us. Share this out. Do all the good shit. Till next time, y'all. Peace.
What up, though? You already know what it is. Best in the world, aka The Problem. Isaiah Broner. And you watching the Main Event Wrestling Network.